everything that comes to be said in this, in these debates is just our debate. Like, so I don't like me and Ron don't think you should go and kill half the people of the universe and like no. But for the sake of debate, we have to find points to try and argue and be creative with it.
Keyword find
and also and create, but also
out of nothing.
Because as I said earlier, this is an uphill battle. Like this, this is a losing battle, so we have to be creative, which I think we did. Good job. But hang on. In any way, do I think?
Good job. Thank you.
You had an easy battle. You could have slept there.
It's not
you
easy.
could have slept there. You could have slept there and still won.
Hold on. But y'all got much more knowledge about this than we do, so it was much harder for us. We had an easier side, but your knowledge base was much more in tune. So I was like, over here pointing out stuff I hadn't seen none of these shows.
Here's how I explain that. So you guys had this argument, we had this one. Our knowledge brings us like to here. Like it's still y'all's battle to win. It's y'all to lose.
Bring the knowledge.
It's y'all to lose.
Higher up.
Y'all to lose. But no, before he goes, hang on. Just remember, Jesus is the King. Jesus is my Lord and Savior. Thanos is not like Jesus or God. That
was a wild take.
Was it not smart though?
I mean,
hang on, smart approach. Hang
wild.
On. But no, hang on. Tell me.
Jesus and Thanos.
Tell me. No, go. Be honest. No, tell me.
Shut up. No, I gotta go.
Be honest.
Yeah, he's like, well, I'm not about to say this to another man. Your butt is mine.
Man, for a perm, Prince toxic. For a man got a perm and wear heels, Prince toxic. Okay, that's funny.
Welcome to the iNword podcast. I'm Ron, Lone Rocketeer. Yeah, you like that transition, huh?
Nah, abrupt.
Very abrupt. I know, right?
Do you think?
I saw the time on Nate's phone. It said 7:05.
7:02. You're close. You got there.
I'm Ron, a.k.a. the Lone Rocketeer. You can find me almost anywhere. We'll talk about that later. To my left.
Got Nate. Peace out, homies.
Say peace out?
Yep. I'm gonna go data.
He's just talking.
I was talking, yep.
He's just talking. It's all good.
Next.
You didn't put your handle on.
Real sugar cookies.
I'll do it at the end.
Phillip, the man.
Brother A Films.
Thank you, Mike.
Brother A Films. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta just let them know you're the man too, you know what I mean?
Oh my God. Mike, tell me your name again. I'm sorry. On social media.
Real sugar cookies.
Not the. There's no R on sugar.
There's no R on sugar.
At Real Sugar Cookies on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch.
I can't wait for his next Twitch stream. I keep talking about that.
Coming soon.
All right. So we talked about this last time on the last episode that we have now moved towards doing debates. We talked about incorporating the wheel. We talked about pick your poison cards and everything. For the first one that we're doing, since Phil's back, everyone wave at Phil.
Hey.
We decided to pick a topic that was kind of more radiated towards all of us and our our ideas about different things, whether for cinema, for a slice of life, for philosophical, and for ergonomics. I'm going to say
ergonomics.
Ergonomics.
Seems racist.
But
that's why I say for everywhere I don't know what it means.
But for that, today's topic of discussion is, drum roll. Was Thanos right? Oh, wait. Ha. Okay. So, considering the fact we're already kind of separated between our two sides.
Right.
I think he was.
Okay.
Nate?
I believe he was right.
Mike?
I believe he was wrong.
Okay. And Phil?
I know he was wrong.
You know he was wrong without a shadow of a doubt.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay. I wish we should have flipped the coin.
They can go first. This is an uphill battle, so you know for us.
It's an uphill. I know.
Like, we can do it, but it's an uphill battle, okay?
I know.
We got to find our shots.
I know. I absolutely know.
Okay.
You ain't got this.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can go
Thanos
first.
was wrong.
Okay, go on. Partake. Continue. Do tell.
Okay, so.
Oh, wait. Before that. Okay. For those who don't know.
I'm going to get into it.
Sorry.
It's all good.
For those who don't know, Thanos' idea was, if you haven't seen Infinity War or anything Marvel.
Where have you been?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Spoiler alert in 3, 2, Watch Endgame. 1. Okay, anyways. Thanos' idea was that in order to basically save humanity, any planet, the universe, galaxies, everything, you had to wipe out at least half of the population. Before he got the Infinity Stones, he would just do that in more of a random pick, which I wish I could look more into how he did the random picking, but he basically separate people in their society, kill one side, let the other ones live. In his mindset, by doing this, it saved up on resources, people flourished, and it worked. So then he said after that, he wanted to get the Infinity Stones to make basically this work ethic faster, which, spoiler alert.
It's so easy to beat.
Spoiler alert, he does the snap, wipes out half of everything in existence, and that leads into the whole endgame thing. So that's kind of the synopsis about it. So, Phillip, all you.
Thanos killed off half the people in the universe without consent of the individuals who he killed off. That's as simple as it gets. He do you agree with monarchies? Do you agree with, these all-seeing not spiritualistic beings, but all being like, these are people that exist, and I'm a man and I conquer all? I mean, if you agree with Thanos, you agree with that kings and queens are positive. You think about, you agree with absolutism. You agree with no consent. You agree with all these things. So I'm not putting that all on you,
right?
But I am.
Well,
like that. That's what it is, right?
But first you have to define what right means. Mm-hmm. And so by saying right, I don't necessarily mean his methods, but I think his approach, but the outcome. And also what he was trying to, what would you say? How he was trying to better the world in the end. That is what I say is he was right as far as that. Yes, his approach was not correct in that sense, but that's not what I'm arguing. I'm arguing, was he right that wiping away half the population would make the world, the universe, a better place?
We're not talking about...
No, the question was Thanos right?
But we're not talking about... No. But I wasn't done yet either. Hold on. But we're not talking about insert person, right? We are talking about a very specific person.
Right,
Thanos.
Right.
Was he right?
Was he right? Was his idea right? What's his idea? His idea was to wipe off half the universe.
Half the universe.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
To gain cultural resources, whatever it is, to sustainability, to
sustain the world in the cosmos. Otherwise, the world will implode on itself. That's what it was. Right. So basically, it's the train thing. It's do you go this way to kill the old person or to kill the young person? Which way are you going? And so basically, his idea was: do we let the world, everybody die, or do I kill half now and let this side grow and flourish?
Thanos is a god, and he can make those types of decisions.
With the power, he was a god.
But that's not good. No. You shouldn't agree with that. Hold on. Why is it up to Thanos?
That's what I'm trying to say.
To decide who should go?
He didn't decide.
But why?
He didn't decide.
But he decided that he decided that it should be a thing.
Yeah, because
it's not that he didn't decide that. He didn't decide that Spider-Man should go and...
Right. He didn't decide. That was the random part.
And but he decided to put the randomness into...
the Infinity Stones, the universe.
Into motion.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No. But remember, Thanos' whole thing about it was he's just like, yes, I understand people hate this. He's like, but it takes the strongest will to do something like this. He's like, because we know that there are a lot of people who say this is right. He's like, but they won't do it because they don't have the will to do it.
Yeah, sounds good when you know that you won't be going away.
He didn't know that. He didn't know that. No, he really didn't know. No, he did not know that.
That's crazy.
No, it was a risk he took. He could have died too. Like, he didn't know that.
This man.
He didn't. He did not know. He didn't.
Thanos did not know he was going to stay or not.
Yeah, he didn't know that.
Yes. Well, that sounds good. That sounds good. Listen, if you agree with Thanos or not, to me, all comes down to the fact of: do you agree that a singular individual should have that kind of control?
Nobody should have that type of control.
No,
sorry, God.
Right? Right. What did he say? Not one man should have all that power.
Yep. He's not a man though. He is
he's not a
man.
He's an entity of a man.
He's not a man.
He's an eternal.
He's not a man. So
I mean, it was
that wasn't
my point.
But you said that's not the point. Ron caught it. Ron caught you. Ron said because you said no man, not one person should have that power, and so Ron said, "Sorry, God," because Thanos is not a human being. He is an eternal. He's a celestial. He's not of our universe. So he is in a sense a God who can say, you know what?
So you saying he's an alien?
Yeah, he absolutely is.
He had a ball chin.
Wait. First of all, I was just quoting Kanye. That was not like the point of like
I'm
saying to use the semantics of what is man. Hold on. The semantics of what is man, what is not man. But if you want to say celestial being, if you want to use any kind of entity, whatever, I do not believe that he should have the decision to go, I'm going to make the world, I'm going to make the universe a quote unquote better place. So I get to decide what goes away and what stays. Period.
So, question for you. Do you believe in the idea of a utopia?
No.
Do you know what the idea of a utopia is?
I do believe in the idea of it. I do. I understand what utopia is, but I don't believe that a utopia ever can exist. So I don't believe in the idea of utopia.
You mean like you don't believe in heaven?
Say it again?
You don't believe in heaven?
Of a utopia that is created by
a person?
An entity? No, it won't happen.
But isn't God an entity?
Yeah.
Say it again?
Isn't God an entity?
An entity.
Do you want to do the word entity then? I don't believe in a utopia that
man-made. I agree with that.
Man-made for like real life, not in the Marvel universe. Right?
I got you.
You know what I mean? Like man-made, not in the Marvel universe. Yeah. But if you want to engage in like the Marvel universe, I don't believe in like extra beings that we don't have any comprehension of right now, right? Or whatever. I don't believe in like a utopia in that kind of concept. Does that make sense?
Okay. So, with that being said, if we are just trying to fully stick to the MCU right there, or just the Marvel Universe, right? So, Thanos proved to the Avengers that, hey, on my planet Titan, he's just like, it was the same thing. He said, I came up with the idea to like the actual council members that, hey, we should really consider trying to do some population control or else we're going to implode on ourselves. They did. They absolutely did. And he's just like, I saw it coming. I told them how to fix it. No one listened to me. There's a theory that because of who Thanos is as a character, that he knew that the reason that Titan actually ended was because the thing that was living inside of it, this is in the Marvel universe, the thing that was inside it feeds off life force. When there was too much life force, it would be birthed. And that's what would eat the planet. And that's why people are just like, that's probably what happened on Titan. Then we find out, same thing was happening on Earth, where this thing was being born inside the Earth, and the more life there was on it, the more it was growing. So the theory says that while Thanos was saying this is the way to save the universe in order to keep the resources flowing, the underlying thing he was also trying to do was, hey, I'm just trying to stop this planet from being eaten by like a god eater kind of thing.
That's in Eternals. That happened. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
Sure. Saying meaning what though?
When he killed off half.
Or saying what?
When he snapped half of the existence away, it stopped them from growing.
I don't love the idea personally. I don't love the idea of. I think this. I experienced this. So let me go to you and go instead of doing anything in like a, because we can always say he didn't do anything diplomatically. Instead of doing things in a diplomatic way, that he just decided.
As a guy, you don't have to.
I don't love that idea in real life,
right?
And in movies. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like that. That is not because historically that has been a thing,
right?
That people have done
amongst men.
Yeah.
That is just.
But if God came down here and said, "Do this, that's going to happen."
Yeah, but I mean, like in terms of like things that like human beings have kind of engaged with so far,
right. Amongst each other, right? And I agree that human beings shouldn't do that.
Yeah, but because that's just colonization. Essentially, is what it is, right? That's like the whole concept of what it is. And I'm not down with that. And Thanos, being this all great decision maker, is being that, and I'm just like, that's not good.
But again,
I don't care. I don't care about I don't care about the Thanos's. I don't care about his destination. It is the journey that leads up to a destination, and the journey was not good.
Right. Well, that's why he wanted to do the Infinity Stones,
right?
Because that was more humane.
He had to get there to get to the Infinity Stones.
It was more humane.
Yes, because
more humane.
You feel no pain.
To him.
No, they didn't feel anything. They just said the only one who felt something was who?
Spider-Man.
That's it. One person.
We think he's the only one.
Yes.
In all the world.
Yes, because he has that ability to feel his the spidey sense, the tingles. He had that.
What if somebody has 6th sense? Come on now. You seen that movie?
6th sense. They can see ghosts, not themselves. Like,
but they feel. You know? That's what it is. You have a 6th sense. Come on now. But also, humane is crazy because the term. I mean, to do things more humane for people, you got to think of people in humanistic ways. If you don't think of them in that kind of way, then it's not really you being more humane towards them. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's like, okay, this is going to be an off the wall example, right? But it's an example. So like, I know people ask me all the time, right? Because I do his history. They're like, you know, I can't believe that people did these inhumane things to these slaves. These enslaved people. I'm like, well, they didn't think of them as human, so it wasn't inhumane to them. Like the way Thanos acts throughout his whole entire the way he steps, the way he moves, doesn't make it. He can say all he wants. For me, I'm like, you don't think of these humans as human. You think of them as there's no humanity to it. You're thinking of it as equations. You think of it as you're thinking of it as just like 1 + 1 = 2. This is how it works out.
Right.
And he can say a lot, but his actions are showing me that personally.
You can say that, but also to me, again, it's a simple equation. Back to equations: kill today to save tomorrow, or leave it alone today and everyone dies tomorrow.
Say that one more time.
Go ahead.
So because he said erase, so basically to keep it simple, because he was killing, he killed, right, or he erased, but kill today to save tomorrow,
right,
or do nothing and everyone dies tomorrow.
Okay.
That was his approach to it, right? And so that's why he did what he did, and that's why again he was trying to get the stones to be as. Hang on, do we when a vet puts down a dog because of whatever issue, do we call it inhumane? No. Do we?
It's not the same thing.
Do we? No, do it.
Do not.
Okay. I don't even retort.
What this show's about? Retort?
No.
Mike, go.
I don't even retort.
Go, Mike.
But I'm not done. Anywho, so he, like I said, that's what he did, and he wanted to do it humanely. So you like I said, it was, and also we don't know because Soul World existed, right? We don't know after he dusted some people that they didn't go to a better place for a little bit. We don't know that. We don't know.
Because my thing
that is
we don't know.
This true, but the movie never gets any kind of assumption that was the case.
It wasn't about that because he's the villain.
It kind of does though, because
also,
in Endgame it does. Because remember when everyone came back when they called it the blip, the idea was they said, yeah, one day I was doing this, I looked up, everything went black for a few seconds, and then I was back years later. There was no concept of time to them. Every person that came back in the exact position where they left, and they're just like, it felt like I was gone for like a second. That was it.
That's it.
Yeah, but that's not what you're saying though.
Right. But
he's saying
both
that,
ways. Both ways
you're saying that you didn't know if there was like some kind of like.
I got you.
But no, because of Soul World, when he snapped and Gamora was there, the one who he killed, there's Soul World. So Soul World does exist where these people could have gone to be in a sense Utopia,
and they just don't remember.
Right. Because when they wake up, when Hulk snaps them back, which we can get into what crap that caused. But anyway, when Hulk snaps back, everyone's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, I was just here doing this a second ago, and now I'm like, what?" Like,
because here's my example of that, Phillip. When you have a dream, right, and you wake up, you go throughout your day. Do you remember your dream?
Some people do, some people don't.
I don't. I don't dream.
Some people don't dream. Some people do dream. Some people don't dream. Some people don't remember their dreams.
You dream about, so according to statistics, you dream at least 4 to 5 times a night, but you only remember one of them.
And like
if you remember any of it.
Saying what though?
Saying that you're asleep for hours, which feels only like mere seconds.
Sure.
You have something that your brain creates and something that you can visually see in your mind, but when you wake up, you don't remember.
But doesn't this only matter if Tony Starks and them succeed in bringing them back?
Right? No.
Because if they don't bring them back, then like that dream is still a dream because it
continues. Right?
Yeah.
It continues.
It just continues.
But also, as Ron told me, this was one of the realest moments you had. I mean, you had Ron when we were roommates, and he was and I was like, hey, I'm scared of dying one of these days, and he was like, well, think this way. He was like, what do you remember before you were born? I was like, nothing. I was like, he's like, exactly. He was like, you're not like, you won't be cognizant of what's happening. Like it's just boom. Like you're not paying. You're not like, there's nothing to worry about.
Sure. I would say a lot of people, not speaking for you, but I know a lot of people that have said similar things, and it's because of the people that they're like with. Right, so it could be their spouse, it could be their family members, it could be all kind of stuff, and like how they're gonna engage with it, right? Especially if it's like sudden and not like old age or whatever it is. Right?
Now, are you talking about the person dying or the person watching?
I'm talking about it's a syncing dynamic, right, between both of these things. But Thanos, sure, we can talk about the individuals, what they killed, but what other people? How would that affect the people that were alive still after, right? Like. These are things that have to be thought about because it's not just about the individuals who half the people that are gone. How people are gone, they people have families, friends, whatever. How it's going to affect those people that are living. And so it's not just you've killed, killed off half. It's also you are putting a strain on everybody that's still living too.
Is it traumatic?
Obviously, there's going to be people that are nuts and be like, oh, we don't get them. But most people care about their friends, care about their family, care about whatever. So you're not just it's not just a sum all. Right. It is an impact to those who are living too. And for one man, entity, celestial,
thank you,
to sit on top and just go, this is my duty.
Hang on, hang on.
Whack.
Hey, is it whack? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? No, hang on. But forget him. Are you sure it's whack? Because I
think it is whack.
Yes. There is a strong passage. If you are of the Christian belief, there is a strong passage in the Bible that's prophecy to come of one day when literally a large part of the population across the world will vanish in a blink of a second, and that entity says, "Come on up."
But that
no. Your argument, you said it's not about the person, people dying, but people left behind, and people will be left behind. That causes trauma. So what you just said now means therefore you have a problem with God, what He will do. Because
it's not. No.
But you just said
no. Stop. But these are different though, because if you want to speak on like Revelation, things like that. All of that is based off of like the individual and how they've maneuvered and like do life at that point. This is not. This is at random.
Okay.
So those are two drastically different things.
I'm arguing what you said of how your problem is that the entity comes down and because you said it was even though these people don't feel nothing, it's people left behind. That's called traumatic. And you said that's whack. The Revelation does the same thing. I mean, obviously, yes, the calculation is different of how he pulls the people out. But I'm arguing the same trauma point is the same because people are left behind. They're like, oh no, my daughter got taken up. I'm left behind. My wife got taken up.
And I'd argue the trauma point is not a small, or not, the trauma point, it would be the same, but the context of like the calculation of like who get taken up or not, that is not minute.
But
that strongly adds to the calculation.
Right, but to Christians that is, but to the atheist who doesn't believe in God, or to the person who doesn't know God, they're like, what the hell just happened? Like they're not thinking of, they went to a better place. They're like, what the just happened? Like, so they have that same mindset, people that were blipped by Thanos.
Absolutely, and that's true, but absolutely, but
you gotta fight it.
But
you gotta fight it.
No, it's not really fighting it. It's the fact that statistically speaking, the numbers of atheists are drastically small in comparison to any collective religious group in the world, right? All religious groups, and many religious groups, especially when it comes to kind of stuff, in some ways think very similar things, right? Like in some ways they think very similar things. There are very similar dynamics between a lot of the large religious groups in the world.
You're banking on my theory that the only reason religion separates is because of the Tower of Babel, but that's a whole nother thing.
I mean, it's a whole other thing, right? But like a lot of these major religions are very similar. That's why they have very similar prophets and all kind of stuff together, right? But the context of these individuals, the context of these individuals who are getting taken away, or the half population, whatever the number would be,
right?
The traumatic impact on the people that stayed. While there are texts in our lives and the lives of many others, millions and millions of others, that indicate that one would that should give an indication of this is the way you can avoid this, or this is the way you cannot avoid this, whatever terminology you want to use. With Thanos, there is no indication of nothing. It is you just have to have your fingers crossed and hope it's not me, and it may be that person. That's it. And in that small in the context of how of the forewarnings, I guess that is what makes a difference. To where those aren't equal to me. So by any means.
So if Thanos had a more thought out equation of who he decided to kill, would that change your mind about that?
Depends on what the thought out equation was, but no, probably not.
Yeah, Mike. Sorry, you've been waiting patiently. What you got?
No, what I was just basically going to say, like, if you was in the Marvel world, right, with Thanos, right, and Thanos did his thing, right, and he took your mom, your dad, your brother, all your friends, he took your girl, how would you feel? You think what he was doing was right?
Hang on, no joke. This is me speaking facts. If I got left behind and Jesus came back and took rapture, I'd be mad at Jesus too for that split second. So like that's not like, and I'm a Christian. I'd be like, why? Even though it's on me of what I did. Like so, both ways I'd be mad. I'd be upset. I'd be like, oh crap. But then guess what? As Captain America says, we gotta move on. Like we gotta figure it out. This is our world. It's all we got.
That's hilarious for a guy who. Never mind. Captain America's is an idiot. I truly believe that. But, I mean, somehow we came to this portion in the conversation of comparing Thanos to Jesus and God. and
he's not Jesus, obviously.
But when I say it like that, it sounds crazy.
Yep.
He's not
Jesus. Yes, because the context of all this matters. Right? People getting taken away for reasons. I appreciate your attempts. But the context.
Hang on.
No, I appreciate your attempts.
It's up to you. It's up to the audience.
It is up to the audience. But I appreciate your attempts.
Hang on.
But the context of these things do matter.
Right, of course they do.
Thanos is while yes.
Nowhere close.
They
to
are
Jesus.
both choosing.
Right.
Right? Going to choose
no, he's not. Thanos not choosing.
They're both making the decision to have it happen.
Right.
So not choosing, but making the decision for this to be a thing.
But didn't before he had the rings that he was making that decision?
Right.
He still said
he had to.
Who died?
Yeah. It was random. Literally, so and there's a flashback when he gets Gamora and he was like he's talking to her and all they did was they just separate they gathered the people and they just said put down the middle, separate down the middle, and then they picked a side and then they shot them that side.
Also, let's just say random, horrible way to do things. You don't know if you don't have any kind of context.
Again, I am not arguing the. Not execution. The data, the analytics. I'm saying the idea, the thought he had was right. That's the argument. Even though, hang on, I went to the end of that.
The thought he had,
the what he was trying to do, was right. Because again, I know you haven't watched it, but Falcon and Winter Soldier touches on it. The other shows, Hawkeye touches on it, of how people are like 5 years into the blip, they're like, this is actually the best the world's been. And then when the Hulk snaps back, everything goes to crap.
I would argue that just because people.
No, not people. Like the world. Like because
that's fine.
If you watch it,
that's fine.
Yeah.
I would argue that just because the world thinks something's the best it's ever been, at the end of the day, for me, at the end of the day, if you have one man making the decision,
not a man,
you have one. What word should I use?
Entity. That's fine.
Entity. Fair. If you have one entity making the decision for everybody.
What are you doing this right now?
No, for everybody, that's not good.
We've been here though.
That's not good.
Well, okay, so
that's not good at all.
Well, when we're talking about the like we said, the method questionable, but the idea and thought of like what they wanted to do was the whole subject, right? Which leads me to one of the things that I kind of will die on this rock about. The idea of a utopia is nice. The idea of a perfect place where everything it works out in everyone's favor. No one has to worry about losing anything. Everyone's happy. Everything's just kosher. Wonderful. The path to get there is very, very ugly looking, no matter how you spin it. It always looks bad. The method to get there looks terrible. Once you're there, great. And that was a situation Thanos was in. He said, listen, if we have a way to control the population, get rid of half of these people within the universe, every place that I've done this for, check down on them, thriving, right? Granted, to get there, because these people were already born, I have to figure out a way to get rid of them. They're not going to want to leave their planet. At least I'm helping the ones that are still here, and, the other ones who die, pray to your gods.
Journey does not justify destination.
That's crazy. I would have liked to see like alternate like what if like, because remember in Endgame he says he was like I made a mistake of letting you guys remember what happened. I'm gonna do the same thing now, but you won't remember what happened. And I'm curious to see how that world would have played out. I'm just curious.
And no one remembered the other people existed.
That happened.
There would have been no grieving period, so they would have just been like, this is how the world's always been.
Journey does not justify the destination. The attempt at a destination too.
I mean, he got there. The Avengers
Journey.
No,
does
he,
not,
he got there,
but it's fine.
Because
how you go about to get there, that matters. You can't separate both. Like you can't separate the journey from the destination. Like it matters. How Thanos went about to try to get there. Right. Even if you agree with the destination, but the journey is atrocious.
But when arguing, was the journey okay? We're arguing, was his thought right? And the evidence proves, the evidence proves in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, his thought was right. Every planet he did afterwards was flourishing. Everything he was flourishing afterwards. Like I said, when arguing the journey, we're arguing, was his idea right? And
the idea of making that utopia.
The idea was right. But that was right.
Wrong.
He was right. Wrong. Well, guess what? That's it. That's time.
I mean,
that's time. That's time.
We don't have like closing arguments.
Well,
like a closing statement.
Okay,
sure,
what's your closing statement?
I think we should have a closing statement, and then you should have a closing statement.
Okay.
Just like put a stamp on it.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Which camera should I look at?
Whichever one you want.
Whichever one.
Come here. I'll say this. Entity is the word I'll use to describe Thanos. If it is never okay for one entity to just make the decision to wipe off one half of civilization for the gain of what they think is going to be best. Now, if you want to make the comparison between Thanos and God with a capital G, I think that is not justifiable, and the context between the two were so starkly different that it can't be compared. Specifically because of one is from the thought process of a man men who came up with it, and the other one is like the same but not really, being that Greeks. You know what I mean? The whole entire thing. But that does not, with all that being said, there is no end to it does not make sense that it is not good of what Thanos said and what Thanos did and his actions that he took to get to the point of what it was. And I can't really focus because of these guys right here doing all this movement and distracting me. I'm trying to focus on the camera and give my any statements. But
I'm just sitting here doing this.
Mike, you closing argument?
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. One entity should not have all that type of power to make those type of decisions. So he was wrong.
Got you. Appreciate you, gentlemen. All right. Now, ignore everything they just said. Okay. Phil wants you to think, and Mike wants you to think that an entity shouldn't have all this power and shouldn't come down to our measly world and tell us what to do. Well, unfortunately, depending on what you believe in, that's already happened. Ever heard of the Old Testament? The Noah and the Ark? If I recall, God came down and said, you know what? All y'all gotta go, and I'm gonna keep you five alive, or however many he kept alive, right? So that's already happened. So that idea, out the window. Second, me and Ron are just arguing again. I understand it's a smart defense that the journey matters, and it does 100% matters. You are not wrong in that thought. But me and Ron are simply arguing the idea and thought of erasing half the universe to save the universe was correct because at the end of the day, the facts are in the pudding. Every planet that he did his thing on, they flourished, and even the world, Earth, was flourishing after he had snapped. But then the good old Avengers had to come in and screw it all up. Okay, so he, like I said, was Thanos this entity right in his thoughts, in his ideas? You damn right he was. Ron, you got it.
So Nate already hit on the things in our reality. I'm going to hit you guys with some Marvel cinematic or just Marvel universe kind of philosophies. Number one, has been proven in Thor, Love and Thunder, there are multiple gods in the Marvel universe, right? It's also been proven that when people were blipped away, that they didn't remember any of it. They didn't remember. They just remembered, oh yeah, I was there at one point, then everything went black. That's it. Didn't mention, oh yeah, I felt, this pain before. It's like, no, I was there, then nothing. Thirdly, have you guys seen Loki?
Mm-hmm.
So, and taking it deeper, you too, me also, have seen the new Spider-Man. The blip was a canonic event. If it hadn't been, the Time Force would have stopped him. They said it had to happen. They said this was the right thing to happen in order for things to work, or else it would have caused an anomaly and would have ruined everything.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Truly.
You gotta do your homework.
You gotta do your homework.
Like, I got things to do. I was like, don't mention it in 9 movies. Like, I can't watch that. Let a brother live.
But
I forgot. Yeah, that's right. It was a canon event.
Like Nate mentioned, like we've been mentioning, the argument isn't the idea of, because I agree with you both also. The way he got there, not the greatest, which is why he was reaching for the Infinity Stone so much, because he realized that, hey, these things that created the universe can also take the universe away. That was his idea, right? Because when he left it up to the stones, it wasn't him picking. He was legitimately letting the universe choose who stays and who goes at that point. The only reason he did it was, number one, he knew he was the only one who could handle the stone's power. And number two, if it killed him, so be it. He felt like he was doing the good for the universe. It wasn't up to him when he did the snap. He just said, hey, stones, do your thing. Did his thing. Because if you want to get to the nitty gritty, technically, Tony Stark was the one who focused and said, I'm going to kill you all in particular. Snapped away Thanos' army. No one else. He didn't leave it up to the universe. He left it up to his own thought and said, I'm killing you all in particular. But,
guys.
But they have families.
Sure did. But circling back, this whole thing was Thanos had an idea for Utopia. He had an idea for where everyone can thrive because he went through the pain of losing everything. And he said, because I know what lies within the universe and how this happened, I don't want it to happen to anyone else. And that's why he said he'll take it upon himself.
No, you can't play the sympathy card.
But that was his whole thing. That was his whole thing.
We didn't interrupt your closing arguments. Keep going.
That was his whole thing.
This man said, I got 3 points. He had 0.7.
But that was his whole thing. Thanos felt remorse for having to kill the people, but he said he had to do it because he had the strongest will to do it. He didn't. I don't think he liked the method, but he knew that this was the way he had to do it because there was no other way.
It's a psychopath. That's what it sounds like. Psychopath. No one can do it but me. That's what so many psychopaths.
Because no one else would do it
or could do it.
He was the only one who could handle the radiation. The only one who was second that could do that was the Hulk.
And Oklahoma City bombers thought the exact same thing. This is crazy.
Because Thanos was able to do the snap, felt fine, but when
don't engage him.
Yeah. Sorry.
He's trying to pull you off your tracks.
1,000%. You pulled me off my tracks.
No, I didn't.
No, he didn't.
You did.
I was coming straight to you.
He's doing it again. The idea of the Utopia was what he wanted. The method to get there he knew was ugly. He apologized to Gamora. You know he probably apologized to a lot more other planets because it seemed like he really did try to save some children. But Thanos didn't do it just because he said, oh, this is the way it goes. He goes, this is the way I have to do it in order to save the universe. And that is my closing statement.
Just real quick.
No, I was done.
I'm not arguing. Okay. I have a genuine question.
Okay.
So are you arguing that Thanos was the good guy?
Because
from the end of your statement, that's what it seems like.
Because the writers literally said for Avengers Infinity War, it was the Avengers were like the way they wrote it, the Avengers were the bad guys and he was the hero in that movie.
I don't care about the writers.
No,
what do you think?
What I think?
Yeah. Because the writers gonna do what writers do. But like you as a person, a consumer of the art, what do you?
Well, hang on. Are we? Is the debate over? Or are we still in the debate?
The debate's over.
That matters.
Debate's over.
Debate's over. They ever do you think?
Wait. Before we get to that part, moment of silence for the room. All right, cool. I'm Ron, Lone Rocketeer. You can find me on streaming services: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Don't use it as much. Need to use it more. Spotify, everywhere. At the Lone Rocketeer.
What just happened? I'm Nate Sanatic. You can find me on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram.
I'm Mike, at Real Sugar Cookies, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Phillip Dixon, Brother Abe, and that is at Instagram. And
thank you for joining us for this episode of the iNword Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. It helps us out a lot. We're 88 strong right now.
Mm-hmm.
So excited.
A lot was so strong.
It does.
A lot.
It does help. Tell people about us. Go ahead and comment. We want to hear what you think about this. Your 2 cents about it. Not trying to start a flame war, but anyways. That was our episode. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, wait, I want to share my piece about making